Oh, I know some of you Rockets fans don't want to hear this, but Ime Udoka is right in the decision that he's making with Reed Sheppard.
Hard work, hard work, hard work, hard work, hard work, work. There you go. Hard work, work. Everybody doing it right. Hard work, work, work. That's what you say. Hard work, work, work. Earn more pay. Hard work, work, work. Do it every day. Hard work, work. Get up out of quarter to three. Hard work, work. To go and earn more pay. Hard work, work. Boots on and lace.
Hey, what is going on? What is going on? What is going on? Y'all give me a second. Why am I having these issues when it comes to? Hold on, that may have done it. Here we go. There we go. All right. Hey, what's going on, y'all? You're tuned into the morning brief with Big Sarge. Make sure you follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter at Big Sarge Sports with Z at the end. Follow me on the Tick and the Talk at Big Sarge Media. Make sure you are subscribed to the Big Sarge Media YouTube page and follow me on Instagram at Big Sarge Sports with Z at the end. Because you know we do everything for the gram. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Y'all hold on for 1 second. Let me see if I can get my Instagram family up in here too. Let's see if we get that Instagram family. Hold on, we live and in person? What's going on? IG, I have done you all a disservice. I should be going live more on IG. And from this point forward, I'm going to let you all know that I will be doing more IG lives, even if I'm not doing a regular podcast, even if I'm not doing a regular show, I will be coming to IG live in order to get some things. To say some things over there as well, because I felt like I've neglected my IG family, and I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to neglect my IG family. I'm going to figure out a way that I can do YouTube as well. TikTok at the same time, because it gets funny and it gets tricky because I'm trying to figure out a way to put them all together without having to pay additional money for what I'm already paying for. So I got to figure that thing out, but don't worry about it. I will. Once again, you're tuning into the morning brief. I'm your host, Big Sarge. I was supposed to do something. I knew I was supposed to do something. Don't worry about it. I'm gonna get it done. I'm gonna get it done right now. See, this is what happens when you do a live show, right? When you're doing a live show, these are some of the things. When you're doing a live show and you're producing a live show on your own, then sometimes things like this just happen. I'm supposed to have sent myself a video, and now it's I don't want to say it's too late, but I'm trying to send myself a video. Here we go. Hold on. Did it come through? Did it come through? Hold up. Wait a minute. Hold up. Wait, let me see if I do it that way. Y'all give me a second. This is letting you all know that this show is live, right? And I like doing these live shows. I'm gonna be honest with you. I like doing these. Here we go. Let me see if I can put it, because I'm gonna need this. I like doing these live shows because when you do these live shows, hold on. When you do these live shows, here you go. Let me see. When you do these live shows, not only can I get people involved.
Easy money. I rock with you, my boy.
There we go. I had to make sure that I had that. Look, y'all, I got to make sure that I had to make sure that I had that, because coming towards the end of the show, I will be talking about Houston rapper Killer Calleon. Let me get in my comments right quick. I will be talking about Houston rapper Killer Calleon and the comments that he had to make about Kevin Durant as far as him being Batman. But let's go ahead and start the show. So On Monday night, the Houston Rockets defeated the Washington Wizards by a score of 123 to 118 to improve to 38-22, and they remain third in the Western Conference standings. Kevin Durant and others have said this on multiple occasions. That Western Conference is very competitive. So you can go from the 3 spot to the 7 spot in one night. And so that's a very, very competitive, a very, very competitive conference. And so to get these type of wins, even against a team like the Washington Wizards, they definitely need it. Kevin Durant had 30 points and 7 rebounds. Alperen Sengun had 32 points and 13 rebounds. They went 2-1 on a 3-game road trip, and now they headed back home for 2 games. They play Golden State and they play Portland at home Thursday night, Friday night, and then Saturday they're off, and then they travel to San Antonio for a huge game against the San Antonio Spurs, who just so happen to be second in the Western Conference standings right now. And San Antonio has a really good team. I know that people will look at the San Antonio Spurs and just automatically think about Victor Wembanyama, but they are way more than just Victor Wembanyama. That team right there has a lot. And when I say a lot, I mean a lot of talented players on that team. So, hold on, what is going on? Okay, there we go. They have a lot of players on that team, so that's not going to be the easy game for the Houston Rockets on Sunday when they head down to San Antonio to take on the Spurs. So my only takeaway from the Rockets defeating the Washington Wizards is they did what they were supposed to do. They did what they were supposed to do. They didn't have a flashback of when they played against the Sacramento Kings and lost when the King, and this was in Sacramento. They didn't have a relapse of when they played the New Orleans Pelicans and had a 20+ point lead and dropped that lead. They didn't have a relapse on that. They've played down to their competition a lot this year. Their record should be better than 38-22. If I had to guess, I'm thinking that they dropped at least 7 games that they should have won. So what that would put their record at 45-15. Yeah, 45-15. Like they dropped some games that they definitely should have won. So they did what they were supposed to do against a Washington Wizards team that is very young. I mean, shit, I didn't even. Hey, raise your hand if you knew Angel Reese's brother played in the WNBA. I didn't. I didn't know that Angel Reese's brother played in the. I said the WNBA. Good Lord. I didn't mean to disrespect him like that. What's up, Senior Boble? I didn't know that Angel Reese's brother played in the NBA. And so seeing him on the Washington Wizards team last night. So this is a team that I don't want to say that they're actively tanking, but they have a lot of young players. And I mean, they do have Anthony Davis, who's out for the season. They do have Trae Young, who should be back on Thursday, if I'm not mistaken, to be his first game. He got kicked out last night, had a tech. And he got kicked out, had a tech, and they said that was his first action as a Washington Wizard. So, but the Houston Rockets did exactly what they were supposed to do. The Houston Rockets did exactly what they were supposed to do to a team like the Washington Wizards. Now, Reed Sheppard started in his 3rd game in the last 5 in which they played because Jabari Smith Jr. Was out his 2nd game as he is recovering from a right ankle injury he sustained against the Orlando Magic. And then Reed Sheppard started against Miami. Reed Sheppard started against pause because you weren't using the app. What are we talking about? I am using the app. But Reed Sheppard has been starting. I think that he started. Was that the Utah game? Reed Sheppard started in against when was it Utah that he played in when I think it was Sacramento, that's what it was. He played in his first game in Sacramento because Amen Thompson was out with a quad injury, and so he was in the game. He started. So Reed Sheppard has started a couple of games. And I think that head coach Ime Udoka was asked before the Rockets took on the Washington Wizards about Reed Sheppard's status once Jabari Smith Jr. comes back, and he's slated to come back in that Thursday game against the Golden State Warriors. And so he was asked, and he said, we're going to go back to our regular starting lineup, which includes Tari Eason, Amen Thompson, Jabari Smith Jr., Kevin Durant, and Alperen Sengun, right? Reed Sheppard will go back to the bench. Now, that right there has pissed some people off. That right there has pissed a lot of people off because they want Reed Sheppard to start. They want Reed Sheppard to start. And I get it. Don't get me wrong. I get it. I know I know why you want Reed Sheppard to start. And just like Senior Boble said, I'm okay with sending Tari to the bench when Bart comes back. So keep that thought in mind, right? You want Reed Sheppard on the floor. You want him starting, and you want to send Tari to the bench. But if you do that, now where's your scoring coming from? That is the exact question that I asked Ime Udoka that I'm going to put out here pretty soon. But that is the exact same question that I asked Ime Udoka when they were in Miami. I'm saying if Reed is starting, what happens to your bench as far as the scoring is concerned? Because if you put Reed in the starting lineup and you take Tari out, so now you have Reed, Jabari, KD, and Sengun. You got Reed starting, and you put Tari on the bench. Where is your scoring going to come from? You already get upset because you don't think that Dorian Finney-Smith was a great signing. You're not going to get a lot of offense out of Josh Okogie. You're not going to get a lot of offense even if you bring Tari off the bench. Tari is one of those hustle players that can find the ball, and he can be offensive, but he's not as consistent as Reed Sheppard. So you got Clint Capella coming off the bench. You got Josh Okogie coming off the bench. You got Dorian Finney-Smith coming off the bench. You got Aaron Holiday coming off the bench. And then you have Tari Eason coming off the bench. Where is your scoring going to come from? Where is your scoring going to come from? Because if you're going to bring them off the bench, right? If you're bringing them off the bench, if you're bringing those players off the bench and you're starting Reed Sheppard, then what happens when Reed comes out and you insert one of those players in or two of those players in? You're still trying to find that constant offense. You're still trying to find that like some of y'all got to pick a struggle. Either you want you want scoring off the bench, which is you've not been getting on a consistent basis when Reed Sheppard is in the starting lineup. Either you want consistent scoring off the bench with Reed Sheppard, or you want Reed Sheppard in the game, and hopefully they can build up a large enough lead. So when it's time to rest Durant, or when it's time to rest Sengun, or when it's time to rest Jabari, then you can bring in some of those players who are going to keep the lead. I mean, I think that we've watched a couple of games this season. Where KD goes out and they have a lead, and then next thing you know, and in the next 2 or 3 minutes, that lead is gone. That lead is gone. And when it's gone, hold up for one second. I'm not going to call you out by name. You know what I mean. Mr. Fant, George Fant, I've been looking for you. You haven't been responding. I need to talk to you like really, really, really bad. Y'all know former Houston Texans offensive lineman George Fant. Hey, we really need to talk now. That's another story for another time. But with that being said, you gotta. I agree with what head coach Ime Udoka is doing by bringing Reed Sheppard off of the bench, because he has to have somebody that's going to be consistent as far as the offense is concerned. You cannot have Reed Sheppard starting and depending on players like Josh Okogie, Aaron Holiday, Dorian Finney-Smith, Tari when he comes off the bench, and Clint Capella to give you or to keep that scoring going. Now, I know that you're saying, well, put him on the floor with some of those players that you have on there. If you notice Ime's substitution pattern, he normally brings in 2 players at a time. So let's just say you got Tari and Clint Capella coming in, right? Now Tari's going to come in and Tari's going to spell who. So Tari's going to, let's just say Tari grabs Amen and Clint Capella grabs Alpi. So now once those 2 come into the game and the other 2 go out, now what do you have? Now the defense is focused on, okay, so really we'll let Jabari get whatever he's going to get, but now we're going to centrally focus on taking out KD and Reed. Compared to when you have Reed coming in the game, it gives you that instant shooter coming off the bench. It gives you that instant offense, and the things just continually to run smoothly. Now I get it. Don't get me wrong. I understand. I definitely understand that that Reed Sheppard playing alongside Kevin Durant and Alperen Sengun looks great. Even when he's playing with Amen said after the game in Miami, he loves playing with Reed because he can either hand the ball off to Reed, roll to the basket, or use Reed as a screener. When 2 players go towards him, he's able to get downhill, and that's great. And that may be something that they can explore next season. Maybe that's something that they can explore next season. But this season, when you're trying to salvage and make sure that now I don't want to say salvage, but when you're trying to keep that consistency, when you're trying to stay afloat in that Western Conference, and right now they're in a very good position. So when you're trying to stay in that position, then you've got to go with what's going to work. And I know it's the hot thing to say, start Reed Sheppard, start Reed Sheppard, start Reed Sheppard. But what is the overall totality and what is the overall thing that Ime Udoka should be doing? He should be looking at, hey, what's best for the team? So if I start Reed, where am I going to get this other offense from? Now, especially, side note, especially for you suckers out there that last season was talking so down on Reed Sheppard, was talking, saying he's not this, he's not that. And I know for a fact that I told you all, hey, man, he's a rookie. Calm down, let him get his footing, let him get acclimated to playing in the NBA. I told you all, hey, man, Reed Sheppard is going to be okay. He's just a rookie. I hate that we live in this instant reaction society right now. I tell you all the time, I grew up in a time where I had to wait to eat, meaning that the food had to be cooked on the stove or cooked in the oven, cooked in a crock pot. I could just walk in and eat automatically. If I was hungry, I had to make me something to eat, meaning that I might have to fry a bologna sandwich or fry egg sandwich or wait for my mama to get through cooking. But it wasn't going to be instant. I was going to have to wait, right? I may be able to grab a quick snack or something, but other than that, a bag of chips, maybe a little Debbie oatmeal pie. But other than that, it had to wait. But right now, it's so instant that you can walk in and you can have a meal prepared and you throw it in the air fryer 3 minutes or less, damn near. And that's how some of you all react on social media. You're so instantaneous that, hey, right now. Hell no. You got to give it time. I also grew up in a time where I watched the NBA where they developed players. So you can't expect a player like Reed Sheppard to come right into the league and jump right into doing whatever it is you want him to do. Hey, man, he was the 3rd overall pick. What does that mean? He still needs to be developed. He was the 3rd overall pick, but he was coming out of college. I met you at a car wash and you gave me, really? I remember you. The one right there off of Washington. How's it going? But with that being said, you all are too instantaneous. You all want it right here, right now, right here, right now. And that's not that's not how it happens. That's not. Basketball, contrary to what you believe, football, contrary to what you believe, baseball, contrary to what you believe, is a developing sport. Developing. You got to get, and when you're coming from the college ranks into the pros, you're going to have to adapt, learn. One of the things that most of the rookies that I talk to in the especially in football, especially in the NFL. Most of the Houston Texans rookies will give you the same answer when you ask them, "Hey man, what's the difference in playing in college and the pros?" They'll tell you the speed. The speed of the game is different. The speed of the game, meaning not only the speed of the players, right? Not only is it the speed of the players and big players that they didn't expect. They was like, I didn't expect these big defensive linemen or big offensive linemen to move this quickly, but also the way things happen in the game. And so when you look at it from a basketball perspective, they're coming out of college, and that thing has to, they have to be able to grasp that concept and then be able to take it to the next level. What Reed Sheppard did was he went and he honed his skill, and he knew exactly what they needed him to do. And that's what he worked on. He took that year, his rookie year, even when he got sent down to the G League and went berserk down there, he came back and he used some of that to his advantage. And so I get it. I understand. When you look at Reed Sheppard right now, you want to say, hey, man, Reed Sheppard is this, Reed Sheppard is that. And he is. Reed Sheppard is a good basketball player. One thing that I really like about hold on for a second. Y'all give me a second. Y'all know I like to do this. They get the same boring answers to your simple, boring question. Jim Selfie, who are you, my guy? You need attention. You need a hug. Bring it in. Bring it in, Jim Selfie. Bring it in. This is March. This is, my late wife passed away from colon cancer. This is colon cancer awareness month. Bring it in. I'm trying to be nice. I'm going to be nice to you, Jim, because I know that your wife is probably cheating on you. If not your wife, then your significant other, and that could be male or female. So I understand that you may be going through some things right now. I know that your mental health may not be there all the way because your screen name is Jim Selfie. So that Jim Selfie, you know what that's telling me? That selfie part is telling me that you lack self-confidence. You're telling me that you don't have any self-confidence within yourself. And so now you say, ooh, there goes Sarge. Let me take out all my issues and my problems on Sarge. Well, guess what, Jim? I'm not going to get upset. I'm here for you, my guy. Hey, hit me up in the DM at Big Sarge Sports with a Z at the end on the app formerly known as Twitter. And if you want to talk about it, we can talk about it, Jim. I understand. You hate your job. Your kids don't like you. You don't have friends. You lost in Call of Duty. You lost in fantasy football. Your 2K season is trash. I get it, Jim. I understand. You're suffering. And you're reaching out saying, Sarge, I need a hand. Help me, Sarge. Help me. I digress. When it comes to Reed Sheppard and the development that he has made, his development and his improvement that he's made on this season, I can definitely understand where some of the backlash going towards Ime Udoka as far as starting him is concerned is, starting to grow loudly and start to, to pick up steam a little bit, and especially from some of these local media members and from some of these local radio guys and some of these local people who have podcasts. I get it. I understand you want him to start. I got it. But if he starts, then you lose your offense coming off the bench. You have no offense at that point coming off the bench. So with that being said, right, which brings me to this point. It brings me to this point. This is how some of y'all, and probably you, Jim Selfie, this is how I know that some of you all don't know ball. This is how I know some of you all don't watch basketball. This is how I know that analytics has ruined a lot of the games. This is how I know that some of you all talk just to talk, or you're trying to get a quick like, retweet, click, sub. So in the sub is subscription. You're trying to, instead of standing 10 toes down on what you believe or saying what you believe, you're trying to get the hot take. You're trying to go viral, right? You're trying to go viral. You're trying to put whatever you could put out there and go viral. And you're not paying attention to the game. And especially some of you Houston Rockets fans, who I look at and I say, you've been watching this game long enough. And not only have you been watching this game long enough, I think that some of you all, uh, I think that some of you all, or I respect and give you more respect than you should have, like you, Jim Selfie. But with that being said, let me take you back to a time, right? Y'all know that I love me some Minnie Riperton, right? Y'all know she got a song called Memory Lane, and it goes a little something like, I stumbled across a photograph. It kind of made me laugh. It took me way back down memory lane. Let's go back down memory lane, right? Let's go back down memory lane. How many of you all remember the Oklahoma City Thunder lineup from 2009 to 2012? How many of you all remember that? Let me help you out, right? Let me give you some of the answers to the test. Kevin Durant was on that team. Kevin Durant was on that Oklahoma City team from 2009 to 2012. You know who else was on that team? Russell Westbrook was on that team. You know who else was on that team? Steven Adams was on that team. If I'm not mistaken, Thabo Sefolosha was on that team. I can't think of the other guy's name. Oh, yeah, James Harden. You remember James Harden was on the Oklahoma City Thunder? And a lot of you all think that James Harden was a starter for the Oklahoma City Thunder because you're saying, well, look at the way he played with the Houston Rockets and look at the way he's playing, even if playing at a high level with the Cleveland Cavaliers right now. James Harden was not a starter for the Oklahoma City Thunder. James Harden came off the bench. They called James Harden the sixth starter. James Harden was the sixth starter for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Right? Right. Y'all know James Harden has won the Sixth Man of the Year award, right? No, I'm just saying, y'all know that he won the Sixth Man of the Year award, right? Y'all know that James Harden was one of the reasons why, one of the large reasons why, and I think it was in that series against the San Antonio Spurs in the Western Conference Finals that they won. James Harden was like the MVP of that series. And then when they got to the finals against the Miami Heat, he had a letdown. But when James Harden first came into the league, because James Harden is a third overall pick. You know who else that sounds like, right? You know who else was a third overall pick in the NBA draft 2 seasons ago, right? Reed Sheppard. So before some of you geeks like Jim Selfie, before some of you idiots start to say, oh, Sarge, are you trying to compare Reed Sheppard to James Harden? No, I'm not. I'm comparing the situations. I'm comparing the situations because if James Harden could come off the bench and be that sixth starter, you know what that means? You know what, Sarge? You used to be an educator. You might have to break this down for some people because everything doesn't click for everybody like Jim Selfie. So, with that being said, James Harden didn't start games. I think that the year that he won Sixth Man of the Year, I think that was a strike short season. I think they only played 62 games and he only started twice. But when they say sixth starter, that means that he was in the game at the end of the game. He didn't have to start. At one point, they even asked James Harden, did he want to start? He's like, no, I'm fine coming off the bench. As long as I can close the games. Now, if you want to get pissed off at Ime Udoka, then that's a point where that's where I will agree with you on that. Reed Sheppard should close out games. And that may mean that, you know, somebody's favorite player on the Rockets may have to go to the bench. But if you're trying to win games, I believe that you have to have Reed Sheppard, especially if he's playing very effectively. Let me give you a prime example. In that game against the New York Knicks, right after the All-Star break, when they were up 18 points heading into the fourth quarter, I don't think Reed Sheppard played a minute of that fourth quarter. And Ime Udoka was like, well, I didn't play him, I think, because of some of the defensive matchups or whatever the case may be. And okay, I get that part, but you got to have somebody on the floor that can still spread the floor. So you don't play him. They come back and they lose that game. They lose that game that was 18 point. What was they lost that 18-point lead and then lost to the New York Knicks. And so what did he do? He learned from his mistakes. And in that Orlando game, when they got down by 19 points, then they went on a 21 to nothing run. You know who was in that game? Reed Sheppard. You know who Reed Sheppard was playing alongside of? Kevin Durant. So if you have a player like Kevin Durant who's already seen this blueprint before because he's played with a guy like Reed Sheppard as far as being able to come off the bench and be instant offense in James Harden when he was with the Oklahoma City Thunder, what do you think the process is? Reed Sheppard doesn't have to be a starter. He doesn't have to be a starter as long as he's closing out the games. And even when he's not hot, even when he's not having the most efficient game, you still got to have him on the court because you never know when he can get hot. That young man can heat up just like that. And not only can he heat up from the three-point range, he has a good drive to the basket game. He can create his own shot. He's not Klay Thompson. He's not Klay Thompson where other people have to create the shot. I mean, I'm sorry, that he has to get to a spot and shoot. He can create his own shot. So if you're closing out on him from the three-point, closing out on him when he's at the three-point range, he is good enough to go by you and get to the rim. And if he can't get all the way to the rim, if somebody rotates over and stops him in the rim, he can shoot the mid-range jumper. Remember, I put out a clip on social media asking Reed Sheppard, hey, which one are you more comfortable with? Shooting the three-pointer or the mid-range? And he says, Sarge, I've shot so many of both. I'm comfortable doing either one. Reed Sheppard is a basketball player who makes the right decisions. And so as long as he's in the game, at the end of the game, you know he's going to make the right decision, whether he's going to shoot the ball, create a shot for himself, or get the ball to the right person as far as Kevin Durant or Alperen Sengun. So he doesn't have to start. This is what I don't understand. You're saying you want him to start, you want him to start, you want him to start. Then who do you have coming off the bench to give you offense? That's what I'm trying to figure out. And nobody has been able to give that answer. All you want to do is stick with what you think is the hot topic right now, start Reed Sheppard. No, not now. Not now. I don't think it's the time to start Reed Sheppard. I think that Ime Udoka is doing the right thing by bringing him off the bench and letting him close out games because you still need that offense. What Reed Sheppard does when he's in the game is he frees up a lot of that double teaming on Kevin Durant. He frees up a lot of that double teaming on Alperen Sengun, right? And so when you have them, you're matching them up in the game. But at the end of the game, you've got to have him on the floor, even if you're just going to use him as a decoy. Even if you're just using him as a decoy, you still need him on the floor. So he doesn't have to start. He does not have to start. And that's why I use the James Harden example. James Harden, who won the Sixth Man of the Year in 2012, the year that they went to the finals. Well, it was the 2011-2012 season, my bad. Right? 2011-2012 season. James Harden came off the bench. They called him the sixth starter. So if you want to tack that on and call Reed Sheppard the sixth starter, by all means, have at it. Call him the sixth starter. He's the first person off the bench. Like, he is the very first person that comes off that bench for the Houston Rockets. You can call him the sixth starter. That's what they call James Harden, the sixth starter when he was in Oklahoma City. When the year James won the Sixth Man of the Year, he was averaging 16.8 points, 4.1 rebounds, and 3.7 assists. Right now, in the last 3 games, in the last 10 games, Reed Sheppard has averaged 16.8 points, 4.5 assists, shooting 48% from the field, and 45.8% from three-point range. So you tell me. because I know a lot of you all, there's a lot, especially people like Jim Selfie. There's a lot of people who love to say, Sarge, you don't know what you're talking about, this, that, and other. Okay, then well, prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. If you can prove me wrong, then I listen. I don't have an issue saying when I'm wrong. I'll tell you, hey, I was wrong. On this point, I don't feel like I'm wrong. But if you think that you can prove me wrong, then prove me wrong. Because if the Oklahoma City Thunder could use that blueprint that they used during the time James Harden was with them and bringing him off the bench and letting him finish games, getting close to starter minutes, then why can't the Houston Rockets do it? Especially when you don't have a floor general, a floor leader like Fred VanVleet on the floor. Especially when you need offense when teams are rotating over to Alper and Şengün, when teams are rotating and double teaming Kevin Durant as far as half court is concerned. Like a lot of these teams, and I don't know how many of you all have watched the Houston Rockets this year, but a lot of these teams like to go into zone. Reed Sheppard shoots them right up out of a zone. Reed Sheppard shoots them out of a zone. Kevin Durant shoots them right up out of a zone. Jabari Smith Jr. shoots them right up out of a zone. And then when you're trying to scramble to get to that point, Alper and Şengün will dominate in the paint. Now, that's another story for another time. We're going to talk because I've seen so many people talk down on Alper, and I get it. Everybody's entitled. Everybody who has their own social media account is entitled to say whatever they want to say. If you got your own social media account, you say whatever it is you want to say. I can't tell you that you're wrong. It's your opinion, not ours. It's yours. It's yours. And I'm gonna tell you, like I always say, I respect it, but I just disagree with it. Now, before I move on to my next thing, let me see. Someone in the comments, someone in the chat said, hey, Sarge, the reason I think Reed should start is because he makes the game significantly easier for KD, Amen, and Şengün. Harden wasn't a starter because of the overlap with Russ, with Russ and KD. So this is why I'm going to disagree with you, because I was an Oklahoma City Thunder fan from the time KD got with the Seattle Supersonics until Russ's last game with the Oklahoma City Thunder. Before he got his last game there, and then he came to Houston, got traded to Houston, right? And so I watched every game KD played there. I watched every game that James Harden played there. I watched every game that Russell Westbrook played there. And when they were all three on the court, right? When they were all three on the court, especially towards the end of the game, by the time that James was able to see what the offense was doing, by the time the defense, by the time Russ was able to see what the defense was doing, by the time KD was able to see what the defense is doing, and now you got all three of them in the game. Because think about it now, those are all three MVPs that you got on the floor. All three of those players have won an MVP. And so when you look at what they were able to do together at the end of these games, then you have to come back and you have to say to yourself, okay, that's what you want to have on the floor if you're the Houston Rockets. You want to have KD on the floor. You want to have Alper on the floor. You want to have Reed on the floor. You want to have Amen on the floor. You want to have Jabari on the floor. Because if you're looking at the scoring threats of KD, Alper, and Reed, even if you remove those, you still have a downhill threat and a defensive presence in Amen, and you still have a scoring threat that can shoot the mid-range jumper and the three-pointer in Jabari Smith Jr. and somebody else who could play defense. If you go back and you look at that Miami Heat game one, they were missing Jabari's defense. Jabari's defense and his ability to shoot the mid-range and the three-pointer to bust open that Eric Spoelstra zone. If he'd have been in there, I think that game would have been a little bit different as far as some of the players getting bullied to the basket and that Miami Heat zone being so effective. So, with that being said, right, and as I digress, I don't think that you need Reed to start in order for the Houston Rockets to be effective. You don't need Reed to be in the starting lineup. You just need him to be in the lineup at the end of the game. Just like James Harden when he was the Oklahoma City Thunder, he didn't start. He was their sixth starter. So I get it, right? Yeah. Yeah, you're right. So, like I was saying, you don't need Reed to start. You just need him to play starter minutes, right? Just like they called James Harden the sixth starter when he was at OKC, call Reed Sheppard the sixth starter. Reed don't be tripping. I'm gonna be honest with you. Reed don't care as long as he get to play basketball. He doesn't care if he starts or if he comes off the bench. He just wants to play. In Orlando, when Reed Sheppard went off in that third quarter, him and KD went off. When they were coming through the tunnel at the end of the game, they had like the staff, like the the equipment staff, the athletic trainers, the assistant coaches. I mean, some of the assistant coaches, some of the film guys or whatever. They were standing there and they were congratulating everybody as they came, all the players as they came down the walkway. Reed Sheppard came down the walkway as if he was ready to go back and play if they needed him to play again. Reed Sheppard was ready, looked like he was ready to play another game. And he's just walking down, he just dapped everybody up. It was like you didn't just help them come back from a 19-point deficit and get to where they are. Like Reed Sheppard, it was just another day at the office for Reed Sheppard. Cool. When he came to do the post-game press conferences, he was like, we were down 19. We needed some offense. I was able to help. It's the media, it's social media who's making this thing more than what it is. And you got to look at it like this too. I mean, you're looking at Ime Udoka, and he's still scrambling to try to make sure that he can have the right lineups in there to win games. I mean, with no Fred VanVleet, with our men having to sit out some, with Tari sitting out some, Dorian sitting out some, you don't have Jayshawn Tate. I mean, you lose Steven Adams. Like, he's still trying to patchwork this thing together himself. And remember last year when they stumbled across the double big lineup that worked for them for the rest of the season, he stumbled across that because they was getting their heads busted by Anthony Davis in his first game with the Dallas Mavericks. And he had to find some way to try to combat Anthony Davis going off and the big athletic forwards that the Mavericks have that was crashing the boards. Got it. Damn. He's like, hey. So now maybe it might have took him a little while to realize, hey, I got to make sure that Reed, no matter how I feel about him playing defense, we should have other guys that's going to be able to help on defense. No matter how I feel about his defense, I need his offense in the game. And if he gives up a basket by somebody blowing by him, okay, come down, he's going to shoot another. Bam. Let me answer this last question right quick before I move on to what I want to move on. So I got you. I agree that we don't need Reed to start to be successful. I think we can also agree that Reed being a starter is inevitable. So what is preventing Reed from starting now? Listen, Reed will be, if he keeps on the trajectory that he's on, if he keeps doing what he's doing right now, he will be a starter in the NBA. Probably as soon as next season. Like Reed Sheppard, he is a starter. I'm not saying that. He is a starter. But what's preventing him from starting right now is that the Houston Rockets do not have a good bench. They do not have a good bench. This is Clark Jenkins. You're right. He can be like Peyton Pritchard. So with them not having a bench, having his, like I said, in the last 10 games, he's 16.8 points, 4.5 assists, 48% from the field, 45.8% from three-point range. So having him in the game at the end of the game is when you really need him. That's when you really need that. I don't think that he needs to start right now based off of what the Houston Rockets are right now. I can't talk about in the future. I can't talk about what's going to happen in the future. I can only talk about what's happening right now and how they can move forward with what Ime Udoka said on Monday, that when Jabari comes back, Reed Sheppard will go back to the bench. They need him. Like I said, man, James Harden was a sixth man of the year. If coming off the bench is good enough for James Harden, it ain't good enough for coming off the bench for Reed Sheppard. That's no shot at Reed. I'm just asking. Hell, who was in started? Who was it? Was Thabo Sefolosha? Was it Kevin Martin? Somebody was starting in front of because I think by the time Reggie Jackson got there, James had already left. Let's look it up, y'all. You know what? Let me use my phone. Let me look it up. Let's look at the starting lineup for. I'm gonna do this real quick. Oklahoma City Thunder. Thunder 2011, 2012 roster. All right, here we go. On that roster, so where is it at? There we go. So I think no, it wasn't. He had Derek Fisher. Oh, Reggie Jackson was there. So my bad. Reggie Jackson was there. So Reggie Jackson started in front of James Harden. Let me see. Yeah, Derek Fisher was on that team. Daquan Cook was on that team. Royal Ivy. God damn, I forgot. Oh, I can't wait to see him tomorrow. I'm gonna be like, wait a minute, you was on that 2012 team? I ain't gonna even lie, y'all. I forgot all about Royal Ivy. Y'all know Royal Ivy is the assistant coach for the Houston Rockets. Sarge Ibaka. That's who I was. Hey, thank you, Clark, and I'm looking at it right now. Yeah, so on that team, they had Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Sarge Ibaka, Kendrick Perkins, which, by the way, we're getting to you in just a second, Kendrick Perkins, Thabo Sefolosha, Nick Collison, Derek Fisher, Daquan Cook, Eric Maynard, Reggie Jackson, Nazir Muhammad, Royal Ivy, Cole Aldridge, Lazar Hayward, Ryan Reed. I don't even know who Ryan Reed is. Sheesh. But when you go back and you look at that Oklahoma City Thunder team, Kevin Durant played 38.6 minutes per game. He was a starter. Russell Westbrook played 35.3 minutes per game. He was a starter. James Harden played 31.4 minutes per game. He came off the bench. That's all I'm saying. We're about to take a break. But when I come back, I got to fry up one of our Houston OGs. And this probably gonna hurt me. Y'all remember when you was little? Some of y'all don't remember because some of y'all never got a whooping when you was little. I got my ass beat. But when I was growing up, my mama used to be like, this gonna hurt me more than it hurt you. Really? Because I feel like I'm the one that's taking the punishment. Like, if that's the case, then let's reverse the roles and let me see if me hitting you is gonna hurt me more than it hurts you. Oh, it's gonna hurt me to have to. It hurts me to have to whoop you, and don't whoop me then. Why would you want to put yourself through that type of struggle and that type of pain? Mama, you ain't got, like, you don't have to whoop me. You can punish me or whatever the case may be. You don't have to whoop. If this is going to hurt both of us, then guess what, mama? Guess what? As the adult, I feel like you should take the pain and the struggle and teach me how to deal with it. But don't give me that excuse. I mean, don't give me that, this is going to hurt me more than it hurts you. No, it's not. Your ass ain't going to be the one in the corner sniffling after getting the hell beat out of him. We'll be back.
Hi, Laura Williams coming to you here from Easy Honda. Just want to remind you that this is my new home, and here at Easy Honda, we are here to take care of all your vehicle needs. From new vehicles to pre-owned vehicles, we've got what you are looking for. And if you're a business and you're looking for vehicles, we've got a great selection here at our dealership. For any information on getting your next vehicle here at Easy Honda, you can reach me at 281-224-3666. Remember to ask for Laura Williams. We make it easy here at Easy Honda.
Hey, welcome back. You're tuning to the morning brief. I'm your host, Big Sarge. All right, so first of all, let me start out by saying rest in peace, DJ Screw, rest in peace, DJ Michael Watts. Let me start out by saying that rest in peace, DJ Screw, rest in peace, DJ Michael Watts. And the reason why I have to do that is because I'm about to talk about Houston culture. So if you're not, familiar with Houston culture and you want to leave this part of the show, by all means, okay. Excuse me. Thank you for joining. But so I grew up, I lived in a time where, DJ Screw, Michael 5,000 Watts, that music is a staple in our culture, right? And when you look at from the Screwed Up Click side, you can look at Fat Pat, rest in peace, Big Mo, rest in peace, Hawk, rest in peace. You got Lil Kiki, Lil Flip is part of the Screwed Up Click, Youngster. And then for those of y'all who ain't familiar with Youngster, his song was beating down the block, knocking pictures off the wall. And he has one of the most iconic verses on June 27th, which is really a Houston holiday, right? Right. And that's from, like I said, and it's much more. Los, Grace, rest in peace. There's other people on that Screwed Up Click side that I'm pretty sure that I'm forgetting. And then when you look at the Swisher House and the Swisher House, led by Michael 5,000 Watts, and then you have people like Chameleonaire, Paul Wall, Slim Thug, Nobody, right? Who else am I'm forgetting? You got 281-330-8004. Mike Jones comes from that Swisher House, that Swisher House side. And there's one rapper that's affiliated with the Swisher House, whose name is Killer Calleon, right? Killer Calleon. And Killer Calleon was on Kendrick Perkins' show. And this is what he had to say about Houston Rockets forward Kevin Durant.
Best Robin to ever pick up a basketball, you're not a Batman. He not Batman. And what I mean by the Batman to a Robin, he never was the bus driver. He good for scoring, no doubt. He can pick that son of a bitch up and deliver. But when you need that team leadership and when you need that nucleus to where you need him to be Batman, he ain't gonna be Bruce Wayne. He ain't been to nowhere he been. Scoring, one thing. To me, Batman still playing basketball right now. He Bruce Wayne. He a billionaire.
Let me play that one more time. And I want y'all to just listen carefully to what he's saying.
Easy money, I rock with you, my boy. But you the best Robin to ever pick up a basketball. You're not a Batman. He not Batman. And what I mean by the Batman to a Robin, he never was the bus driver. He good for scoring, no doubt. He can pick that son of a bitch up and deliver. But when you need that team leadership and when you need that nucleus to where you need him to be Batman, he ain't gonna be Bruce Wayne. He ain't been to nowhere he been. Scoring, one thing. To me, Batman still playing basketball right now. He Bruce Wayne. He a billionaire.
All right. Now, before I get started on my soliloquy, let me say this. Killer, I don't want no smoke with you as far as gangster shit. I don't want no smoke with you when it comes to none of that street shit, none of that gangster shit. I ain't trying to fight you. I ain't trying to meet up with you nowhere. I don't want that type of smoke. I don't want those type of problems. I do not. I'm a 54-year-old grandfather, right? I love my grandbabies. They're going to be here on Saturday. They're going to the rodeo. I cannot wait to see them. I don't want no smoke. I want to be here. I'm a 54-year-old pawpaw and a husband and a father and a brother and an uncle. Like, I don't want that type of smoke. Those type of days has passed me by. So let me preface my soliloquy by saying that, right? I don't want that type of smoke. But the kind of smoke that I do want, since you've, stuck your toe over into my realm, as far as the media is concerned, as far as the social media podcast world, since you've stepped over to my realm, I'd rather let me have this type of smoke with you. So I'm listening to you, right? And you're calling Kevin Durant Robin, right? You're calling Kevin Durant Robin. Before I even get into the idiocracy of what you said, let me say this. You probably kind of know what a Robin would look like, though, right? Because on the Swisher House, you've always been Robin. You've always been Robin. Everybody else has always been Batman. Chameleonaire, Batman. Paul Wall, Batman. Slim Thug, Batman. Mike Jones, Batman. You know what, chat? Give me your top 5 Killer Callion songs right now. I'll wait. Give me your top 5. Okay, well, give me your top 3. Okay, well, give me your top 5 of Killer Callion songs that he's collaborated with people on, when he's been a guest feature on. See, when you start talking about these type of things, then you open up yourself to be criticized, to be judged as well. Like, you went on Beyonce, this went out on Beyonce's internet, and Kendrick Perkins allowing you to say that. I'm saying to myself, hold on now, Perk. I just read his name. Kendrick Perkins was on that team. Who do you think? Let's go back and look. Since you said, hold on, and I'm going to address your other point. Kevin Durant, when that team went to the playoffs, right? I'm sorry, when that team went to the to the finals, Kevin Durant averaged 28 points and 8 rebounds a game, right? Now, Kevin Durant also went to Golden State and became a finals MVP 2 times. Would have been 3 times if he doesn't get hurt, right? When Kevin Durant went to Boston to play with Kyrie Irving, and then they got James Harden. Hey, Killer, let me ask you a question. How many games did they play combined? Right? How many games did they play combined? When he went to Phoenix, how many games did him and Devin Booker actually play together, right? So when you say that he's not a leader, when you say that he's a scorer, right? He's just a scorer. What are you basing this off of? And you use LeBron James, which is, I got LeBron James as the GOAT. I got him as the GOAT over Michael Jordan, and that's because the GOAT is subjective. I think that LeBron James is the GOAT. I don't think that LeBron James is the GOAT because of his leadership. I think that LeBron James is the GOAT because he can score, rebound, and get people in position to score. LeBron James can take over a game. Hey, Kevin Durant? Kevin Durant can take over a game as well. What do you mean by leadership? What are you talking about? You haven't seen him. You haven't seen him be a leader. You only seen him score. What are you looking for? What are you basing this off of? And to call him a Robin is very disrespectful. But once again, like, if anybody's an expert on being a Robin, that would be you. And like I said, I don't want no smoke. I don't want no street shit. I don't want no gangster shit. I don't want none of that. But you put this out for me to see and for me to say what I'm saying. Like when you could criticize another man's career, then you leave yourself open to have your career criticized as well. What do you mean not a leader? You don't think that he was the leader in OKC? You don't think that he was a leader in Brooklyn? You don't think that he was a leader in Phoenix? You don't think that he was a leader in Golden State? Now, let's stop for a second, because you, probably like others, like to say, well, I mean, it's easy when he went to Golden State because he's playing with Steph Curry, he's playing with Draymond Green, he's playing with Klay Thompson, he's playing with by far one of the the best teams to ever be assembled and put on the court. You're right? You're right. He was. But just like I told you all, let me sit up because people been stealing my shit. Just like I told you all years ago, no Kevin Durant, no 2 championships in Golden State. LeBron, Kyrie, and Kevin Love would have multiple championships if Kevin Durant doesn't come to the Golden State Warriors. True. Golden State won one later on. Of course, they got one. They won one. But they ain't winning those 2 without Kevin. Because if that was the case, right? If that was the case, then why didn't they beat Toronto? The only opportunity they had is when Kevin Durant came back and played, even though he knew he was still injured, scored 11 points in 11 minutes, and then got hurt again. They didn't win that game. Toronto did. Do you not realize that the Golden State Warriors I think that the Chicago Bulls had the record, 82 game regular season record at 72-10. The Golden State Warriors went 73-9. They currently hold the best regular season record. They were up on the Cleveland Cavaliers 3-1. They lost that series. They lost that finals. They were up 3-1, and they lost that finals. They lost. So what do? They go out and they get Kevin Durant. And then they win the next 2 against that same Cleveland team. That same exact Cleveland team got their heads busted because Kevin Durant was on the floor. If you ever have an opportunity, because you are a superstar, why don't you talk to LeBron James and ask him what the difference was once they got Kevin Durant? Oh, well, Sarge, it makes it easy when you got players like Klay Thompson and Steph Curry on the floor that can shoot like that. It also makes it easier for them to have a player like Kevin Durant on the floor, who was the Finals MVP twice. See, maybe you need your leaders to be boisterous and outspoken and, show all these different types of emotions, right? If you're looking for that, you ain't gonna never get that from Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant just comes on the court and hoop. Now he will show some emotion. You seen that on Saturday against the Miami Heat when him and Tyler Hero had a back and forth, but it was just all in basketball. But for you to say that he's not a leader, I don't understand that. And because you've delved over into my range, into my area of expertise, I beg to differ with you. Because ask those players that's inside of the Golden State Warriors don't beat the Rockets without Kevin Durant. Amen, Pastoral Impact. But ask these current players on this Rockets team what type of leader he is, what type of impact that he has. He may not come across in the most friendliest, nicest way at sometimes, but they get what he's saying. They understand what he's saying. Kevin Durant he steps on the court, he wants to win. And so in OKC, he was a winner. In Golden State, he was a winner. In Brooklyn, he still almost led that team to upsetting. And if he doesn't, if he wears a half size smaller, they defeat the Milwaukee Bucks. Phoenix, it's a wash. He's not a leader, right? Then what is he doing with this Houston Rockets team right now, Killer? Tell me, what is he doing with this Houston Rockets team right now? You think that scoring is the only reason why this team is where it is? Why don't you go back and you listen to some of the press conferences and listen to what these players are saying? And I know that you're going to say, well, they're probably just saying that because they're in front of a microphone. Well, I have the pleasure of speaking to these players behind the scenes, and it's the exact same thing. Even with all the alleged stuff that happened during the All-Star break, doesn't matter. Kevin Durant is still the leader in that locker room. Still. Between him and Fred VanVleet and Jeff Green, they have the ears of those younger players, and they're listening. So he's part of the group of leaders for the Houston Rockets. So what are we talking about? How are you calling him a Robin? A Robin? So you're going to call one of the probably the top 10 players, top 10, top 12 players of all time. You're going to call him a Robin? A Robin. Well, Sarge, if he was a Batman, he wouldn't have left OKC and joined. He wouldn't have left OKC and joined Golden State. Now, if I'm not mistaken, you said, your own words, you said that a leader is still dribbling the basketball, the billionaire that's still dribbling the basketball. When he couldn't win with Cleveland, he left. And you know what's so crazy and what's so ironic? If you look at the amount of years that Kevin Durant played in OKC and didn't win a championship, it's the same amount of years that LeBron James played in Cleveland and didn't win a championship. And then he left and he joined the Miami Heat and they won. Then Kevin Durant left, joined the Golden State Warriors, and he won. This is the thing that I don't understand, right? The one thing that I don't understand is when you all start talking about Kevin Durant leaving and joining the Golden State Warriors, the team that he was up 3-1. I think they were up 3-1 on them in the Western Conference Finals, and then they lost. If you go back and you look, that year, the Golden State Warriors was not only top 5 in offense, they were also top 5 in defense. And so they said, if you're going to beat us, you're not going to beat us with Kevin Durant. We're going to do our best to double team him and take him out of the game, right? They got up 3-1. They got up 3-1 on the Golden State Warriors because they were allowing Kevin to do what he wanted to do. But as soon as they started to double him and triple team him, sometimes at half court, and now you won't need the other players to make the plays. The other players weren't making the plays. And Kevin Durant was still able to be effective in that series. So you gave him his props for being one hell of a scorer. I don't understand why you would take those props away and saying, what's going on, man? Hey, DJ, I hope you're doing good over there, bro. I know it's a lot of things going on over there at this time. Happy belated birthday. Let me know, man. Let me know that everything is good over there for you. But Killer, I don't understand how you can say that this man is not a leader. Maybe you misspoke. And I think that, Kendrick Perkins, who's had his, who's had his back and forths and had his disagreements, who was a teammate of Kevin Durant's, probably should have came out and said, good. I'm glad to hear that. That's Qatar, right? Am I saying that right? That's where you are? No, you're in Doha. My frat brother is in Doha, right? Just making sure that he's okay with everything that's going on over on that side of the water. Yeah, bro, you and your family stay safe over there, man. But Killer Calion, for you to say that to call this man a Robin, like I think that the Robin part is the disrespectful part. Doha. All right. Doha. Like I said, be safe over there. Qatar. I got to learn how to say that. But the disrespectful part was you calling him Robin. Like that was a disrespectful part. You could say, "Hey man, I don't like Kevin Durant's leadership style. I don't like the way that he leads." Right? You could have said that. But to say that he's not Bruce Wayne, that he's not Batman, that he's a Robin, calling him like basically like a flunky or like a secondhand person, like, because like, let's just be honest, right? Hey, let me ask you all a question. What the hell did Robin ever do outside of motivate Batman? Riding the passenger side of his best friend's ride. Robin was a scrub. Robin was a scrub. He was in that little bit ass thing on the motorcycle. Robin was so bad he wouldn't even let Batman would let him ride in the Batmobile. He had a motorcycle too, just a regular motorcycle. He's like, nah, you can't take out the Batmobile, Robin. You don't have swag like that. You don't hear how disrespectful that sounds, though, Robin? Because if you want to call him Robin, then when somebody calls your rap career Robin, or maybe even Alfred, y'all know Alfred was the butler for Batman, right? He was the butler for Batman's parents, for Bruce Wayne's parents, and then the butler for Bruce Wayne. So, like, if somebody calls your career Robin or even Alfred, how are you going to feel? How are you going to feel? Because to question this man's leadership style, right, that you don't agree with, right? That's your personal opinion about his leadership style. That's one thing. But to call him Robin, that's the disrespectful part. Because as soon as someone calls your career a Robin, soon as someone say, I can't name you 5 songs from Killer Calion, but I can name you at least 3 that I know he's been on with, like Slim Thug. I can name you some of the songs he's been on with the Boss Hog Outlaws. I can name some of those, but I can't name you just his top 5 songs. Hear how disrespectful that sounds? I don't want no smoke. I don't want no smoke in these streets. I ain't a gangster like that no more. I'm old. I'm retired. I'm a pawpaw. I'm a husband. I'm an uncle. I got a niece and a nephew that I love to death too, just like I love my grandbaby. So I ain't trying to get that smoke. But what I will say is, when you put what you said out on Beyonce's internet, because you knew that it was going to go out, you were on a podcast, you were behind the mic, and you were talking to Kendrick Perkins, and you said that this man was Robin. You said that Kevin Durant has never been a Batman. He's always been a Robin. And I'm saying to myself, how? What are we talking about? You're talking about his leadership style. And then you say you compare it, then you go back and you say he's like he's not like LeBron James, whose leadership style has been questioned as well. Not by me, but it's been questioned. So if that's the case, then who do you think is, outside of LeBron, who do you think is a Batman? Because I bet you in your mind, you don't think that Kawhi Leonard is a Batman either. He don't never say nothing. He don't never say nothing. He just goes out there and he does his job, which is what a leader is supposed to do. Thank you, IG. Appreciate it. All right, let me cut that off. All right, I like doing these shows. Hey, I may buy lunch for people who subscribe to this, who subscribe to the morning brief, either through the Texans Tailgate Talk or against Big Sarge Media on YouTube. I may go in and find a subscriber and see if I can, one or two subscribers, see if I can buy them lunch for the day. Been tuning to the morning brief with Big Sarge. Make sure you follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter. Make sure you follow me on make sure you follow me on the Tick and the Talk at Big Sarge Media. Make sure you subscribe to Big Sarge Media and the Texas Tailgate Talk YouTube page. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end, because you know we do everything for the gram. Big Sarge, I'm out.
Hard work, hard work. Hard work, hard work. Hard work, work. There you go. Hard work, work. Everybody doing it right. Hard work, work. Hard work. That's what I say.